15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Edo State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. Lawal Gbajabiamila orders to get COVID-19 vaccines. Ivory Coast launches COVAX vaccination drive. Myanmar coup hopes diminish as Suki is hit with 2 new criminal charges. Stock market begins March with 70 billion naira gain. And Eagle Stars expresses concerns over boat trip to Cotonou. Please stay with us as we bring you details of that news after the short break. Welcome back and thanks for joining us once more. Now the news in full. Lawal Gbajabiamila and others to get COVID-19 vaccine. The Executive Director, National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Fasha Shuaibu, unveils the federal government's rollout plans for COVID-19 vaccines that will be arriving in the country today. Shuaibu, speaking at a briefing of a presidential task force on COVID-19 in Abuja, shows Nigeria that all necessary safety and quality control measures had been put in place for the arrival, storage, and successful administration of the vaccine in the country. On receipt of the vaccines, it says samples will be handed over to the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control team, which they would analyze over a period of 2 days. These workers, he says, would also be electronically registered in the COVID-19 vaccine database, and they would receive their COVID-19 vaccination card with a QR code that will be verified anywhere globally. On Monday, March 8, 2021, more vaccination sites would have been set up at designated locations such as National Assembly Clinic, State House Clinic, and Federal Medical Center, Jabi, where strategic leaders such as SGF, Senate President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Attorney General of the Federation, Inspector General of Police, ministers and ministers of states, senators, House of Representative members, traditional leaders, and religious leaders would be vaccinated. After this initial rollout phase, vaccine distribution to the states for Phase 1 vaccination process will begin. This phase is the vaccination of all frontline health workers, their supporting staff, and strategic leaders. Moving forward quickly, I fight anybody endangering our mission, says Obaseki as he wants NUT. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki says that the state will now negotiate with a politicized Nigerian Union of Teachers, noting that their demand should fall within the program he has designed for primary schools. Obaseki spoke at a stakeholders forum organized by the State Universal Basic Education with the theme as improving collaboration in the provision of basic education in Benin. The governor says there is no going back in his quest to improve basic education, which he says was the foundation of whatever the people are today. He alleges that a segment of the leadership of the union had become politicized and it influenced the last strike by primary school teachers. Earlier, Chairman of SUBEB, Dr. Joan Uviawe, said she came up with Edo Best, which is Edo Basic Education Sector Transformation, to reposition basic education in the state. In another development, Zamfara announces release of Jangebe schoolgirls. The governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawali, has announced the release of the kidnapped students of government girls' secondary school, Jangebe. The girls were abducted overnight last Friday. Bello Matawali, who had earlier said Nigerians would be shocked at the identity of those who masterminded the kidnap, said it gladdens his heart to announce the release of the abducted students of GGSS Jangebe from captivity. This follows the scaling of several hurdles laid against their efforts, and Bello Matawali also enjoins all well-meaning Nigerians to rejoice with them as their daughters are now safe. And quickly, coming from around Africa, Ivory Coast launches COVAX vaccination drive. The first shot of coronavirus vaccines from the COVAX program have been given to people in Ivory Coast. Jobs were being given to health workers, teachers, and members of the armed forces at the Triveli Sports Palace in the commercial capital, Abidjan, where 95% of the country's cases have been recorded, according to Health Ministry. The COVAX initiative formed to ensure fair access to vaccines by low and middle income countries has been hampered by the severely limited global supply of doses and logistical problems. The drive is using 504,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine made by the Serum Institute of India. Some 24 other African countries are expected to start receiving vaccines via COVAX this week, according to the World Health Organization's African office, in what it is the largest vaccine procurement and supply operation in history, according to the World Health Organization and UNICEF. Ivory Coast Health Minister Eugene Akaole said the first phase of the campaign will target more than 250,000 people. He said the nation aims to vaccinate more than 5.6 million people, or 20% of the population. And still coming from around Africa, Zimbabwe Vice President Mohadi resigns amid scandal reports. Zimbabwe's second Vice President Campbell Mohadi resigns following local media reports he had engaged in improper conduct, including accusations of sexual impropriety. Mohadi said in a letter shared by the Information Ministry he had decided to step down not as a matter of cowardice, but as a sign of demonstrating great respect to the office of the president. It was reported that he had improper sexual liaison with married women, including one of his subordinates. He denied the accusations a week ago, saying it was a political plot against him. He said on Monday he would seek legal recourse. Mohadi was one of two deputies appointed by President Emerson Mnangagwa in 2017. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from Asia. Please don't go anywhere.
Another gathering of ministers prepared for an overflow. The cloud is heavy, ready to rain.
Take it! Take it!
The anointing makes the difference for the perfection of the church and the work of the ministry.
This morning, they text me from Kano that one of my members' daughter has been kidnapped. So I came to the altar and I said, where is the Lord God of my father? Within 10 minutes, they brought the lady back to the parents.
Earlier this year, precisely in the month of May, God visited our country to Kenya for the Nairobi, Kenya Supernatural. Precisely 3 months after our father left Kenya, God blessed us with 20 acres of land. It's worth
$1 million.
Take heed, prepare your heart for service. Minister Without Blemish 2021 March edition with Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman.
Before the end of this meeting, you shall see the power of God, because the power of God is present in this place today.
Proximity with God impacts life. Disconnection, how to know you are disconnected from God, is that materialism becomes your yardstick for growth.
Date 23rd through 26th March 2021, live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Kilometer 132 Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. The time is 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. daily. Registration begins 22nd March 2021. For inquiries, please call +234 806 464 6180. Ministers Without Blemish 2021 March edition. Get revitalized.
Welcome back, and now updates from Asia. On Myanmar coup, hopes diminish as Suu Kyi is hit with 2 new criminal charges. A foreign news correspondent has the rest of the story on this one.
On Myanmar coup, hopes diminish as Suu Kyi is hit with 2 new criminal charges. Ousted Myanmar civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been hit with 2 new criminal charges in a court appearance a month after a military coup triggered relentless mass protest. Suu Kyi has not been seen in public since being detained on February 1st, and her appearance in court came as demonstrators again took to the streets across the country in defiance of an escalation of deadly force by the junta. Reports have it that at least 18 people have died as troops and police fired live rounds at demonstrators in cities across Myanmar. More than 1,300 arrests and deaths have been recorded, and security forces have been directed not to use live rounds against protesters. Initially, Suu Kyi faced obscure criminal charges for possessing unlicensed walkie-talkies, as well as violating coronavirus restrictions by staging a campaign event during last year's election. Her lawyer, King Mongzor, says she is now also accused of breaching communications law as well as intent to incite public unrest. The military has justified its takeover, which ended a decade-long democratic experiment, with unfounded allegations of widespread fraud in last November's national elections, which Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy won in a landslide. The military has steadily escalated the type of force used in trying to contain the uprising, beginning with tear gas and water cannons. More violence and major escalation have been recorded as rubber bullets and live rounds were deployed. James Comfort reporting for Celebration TV News Desk.
Now, more updates from France. Former French president sentenced to jail for corruption. French ex-president Nicolas Sarkozy has been sentenced to 3 years in jail, 2 of them suspended for corruption. He was convicted of trying to bribe a judge in 2014 after he had left office by suggesting he could secure a prestigious job for him in return for information about a separate case. Sarkozy is the first former French president to get a custodial sentence. His lawyer says he will appeal. Sarkozy will remain free during that process, which could take years. And the crimes were specified as influence peddling and the violation of professional secrecy. It is a legal landmark for post-war France. The only precedent was the trial of Sarkozy's predecessor, Jacques Chirac, who got a 2-year suspended sentence in 2011 for having arranged a bogus job as Paris City Hall for Alice when he was Paris mayor. Charis died in 2019. If Sarkozy's appeal is unsuccessful, he could serve a year at home with an electronic tag rather than go to prison. His wife's the supermodel and the singer Carla Bruni reacted by describing the case as senseless persecution, adding that the fight continued and the truth will come out. And now, quickly on business news, let's see how stock markets begin in March with 70 billion naira gain. The nation's stock market started the month on a positive note on the back of price appreciation recorded by UAC of Nigerian PLC and 11 other firms. Investors in the market had recorded a total loss of 1.37 trillion in February as market capitalization tumbled below 1 trillion naira amid profit taking. The Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index closed at 39,799 basis points in February from 42,412 basis points at the end of January, while the market capitalization of equities tumbled to 20.82 trillion naira from 22.19 trillion naira. The ASI, however, rose by 0.33% to close at 39,931.63 basis points on Monday, and the first trading day in March, while the market capitalization increased by 70 billion naira to 20.89 trillion naira. A total of 543.99 million shares valued at 1.89 trillion naira were traded in 4,603 deals at the end of trading on the floor of the NSE. UACN, which led the gainers, saw its share price appreciate by 6.67% to close at 18 naira. Boa Cement PLC increased by 3.82% to 74.575 naira per share, while Neme International Pharmaceutical PLC gained 2.73% to close at 1.88 naira per share. Champion Breweries PLC lost 9.92% to close at 2.27 naira per share, while PZ Kusin Nigeria PLC shed 9.43% to close at 4.80 naira per share. And still on business news, petrol scarcity ploy to hike price, says marketers. The queues by motorists for petrol grew worse in Abuja and neighboring states of Nasarawa and Niger, as only few filling stations dispense the commodity. But despite the scarcity and queues which had lingered for several days, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation insisted that it had enough product to keep the country wet with petrol for about 40 days. Reacting to the development, oil marketers described the present scarcity was as a tactic deployed by the federal government and its agencies in their bid to hike the price of petrol. Many roads with filling stations that dispense products in various parts of Abuja witnessed severe traffic jam as motorists formed long queues on the roads. The Forte oil filling station opposite Transcorp Hilton Abuja, for instance, had long queues that stretched into adjoining roads and caused heavy traffic jam in the area. Speaking on the development, the National Public Relations Officer, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria Chief Ukadike Chinedu said the current scarcity would lead to hiking price. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you news from the sporting world. Please stay with us.
A strong wind from the throne of grace is about to hit Onitsha, Anambra State.
To begin our Eastern invasion for the year 2021, we will be coming to Anambra State. Precisely, we will be in Onitsha.
An uncommon shift.
Power! Power! Spirit of God! Shada! 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 Shada!
A mighty wave of glory.
I'm seeing a car. I'm seeing a color blue. I want to cancel accidents. I saw a trailer climbing a small car. Nobody survived. I'm only seeing the car number. I saw something like 541. 541. Is that your car number? SK.
Join me and the host of angels as we'll come for 2 meetings that will revolutionize your life and give your life a meaning.
Generational Impact 2021, Art Omega Fire Ministries Auditorium, City of Wonder, on Paul Umoji Road, opposite Inland Doors, Onitsha, Anambra State, Nigeria. For inquiries, call +234 807 368 8511. Praise be to God.
Welcome to Sport News. Eagle Stars express concern over boat trip to Cotonou. Some Super Eagles players have expressed concern over team's proposed trip by sea to Benin Republic for this month's 2021 African Cup of Nations qualifier against the Squirrels. The Eagles will travel to Cotonou across the Gulf of Guinea for the game scheduled for Stade the Almite on March 27 due to the bad road from Lagos to neighboring Benin Republic. Eagles coach Janot Rock explained that the poor road network was the major reason for the decision to travel by sea. One of the Eagle stars, who is based in Turkey, said the arrangement was weird, but hoped it was safe to sail to Cotonou by sea. Another player plying his trade in the Spanish Segunda Division, also expressed fears about the trip. In another sports news, quickly, Murray fights back to beat Hayes in Rotterdam. Andy Murray fought back from a set down to defeat home hope Robin Hayes and claim his first top-level win of the year at the ATP tournament in Rotterdam. The former world #1 suffered a first-round loss in his first ATP event of the season last week in Montpellier and was in danger of another early exit after dropping a one-sided opening set in the Netherlands. But the three-time Grand Slam champion battled back to win 2-6, 7-6, 6-3 and book a last 16 minutes with either American qualifier Marcos Giron or Russian fourth seed Andrei Rublev. Murray, who like Hayes is playing on a wild card, looked to be actually staring defeat in the face on several occasions. The Brighton, now ranked 123rd in the world after struggling with hip and groin injuries, saved 2 break points in the 7th game of the second set before racing through the tie break to force a decider. He trailed his fellow 33-year-old Hayes 3-0 in the third set, but found the form at just the right time to reel off 6 successive games to clinch victory. Murray, who missed the Australian Open after testing positive for COVID-19, is playing only his second ATP Tour event since last October. And this is how far we've gone on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you're just joining us, here's the news headlines recap. Lawan, Gbajabiamila and others to get COVID-19 vaccines. Ivory Coast launches COVAX vaccination drive. Myanmar coup hopes diminish as Suki is hit with 2 new criminal charges. Stock market begins March with 70 billion naira gain. And Eagle Stars express concern over boat trip to Cotonou. And quickly, we have photo of the day. We have photo of the day. Can you see that some persons comfortably seated, relaxed, watching somebody who is struggling to actually climb? That's a sign that we should always show kindness to people, because we don't know what others are actually going through. You might feel or think it's well with your neighbor, not knowing that that neighbor is gradually dying and needs your help as well. You can drop your comment on our social media platform. On Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV. You can tweet at us at My Celebration TV, and YouTube, Celebration TV. Always remember that your positive contribution to the wellness of your society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership mind. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has backed his ways to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. Be a part of nation building today. Thank you once more for staying with us on our news desk. I remain Nicholas Akosile Walter. Stay blessed.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Edo State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Refuse.